Right, guys, so I'm going to tell you how the workplace is quite toxic and how school is also quite toxic and how the two of these organizations are actually linked together. Whoop. So here's how it goes, okay? Now, so when you're in the workplace, generally, you're there for quite a long time, many hours per week. Most people are, working full time or maybe even longer hours than what the average full time worker does. Okay, so here's the thing. When you go to school, I think they want to train you to work a job. Okay, they don't train you to be smart. They don't want you to be um successful. They just want you to be able to work a job. They want to train you how to work a job, and I think that's stupid because some of the logic is just really stupid because the thing is, they say, right, so you have to go to school from 9 to 4. The reason you're there for so many hours is to prepare you for the working world. Because if you're in the working world, you might work 9 to 5 or even longer than that. And that's just ridiculous. Because when you're in school, you don't do much. You just sit there, listen to the teacher shite on, you fall asleep, you know, and it's really very unproductive. But we want to prepare you for being there. We want to get the idea into your head that you need to be in a place for hours and hours every day, and that's just stupid. Like you probably, if you went into school or classroom and you just got everything and you did everything you needed to do, and there's no um, bull crap or anything like that, then you'd be in and out in probably like an hour or something, or maybe an hour and a half. Really, that's what I'm talking about. And also when I was doing the junior cert, I think this was in March when I was in third year. I got a letter home in the post saying that coming up to the junior cert, we should study 5 to 6 hours a day on days that we're not in school. And I read that and I was like, no way, there's no way we could possibly do that many hours of study. That's stupid. But then my parents are, no, no, that's what you need to do if you want to do well in your junior cert. And they kind of pressurized me into it. My dad would be always saying to me, right, Mark, go do some study, go do some study, go do some study, go do some study. And like 5 hours a day, to me that was just crazy. And it was very painful. So yeah, for last couple of months of the junior cert, I did 5 hours study a day on days where I was not in school. I also did that throughout most of fifth year, and I quit because I burnt out. Because for me, 5 hours is just too much. All right, and you know, my dad made the argument that sure, if you're working a job, you'd be doing that for 8 hours. And I'm like, yeah, but working a job is easy. Working a job is 10 times less intense than studying. So I work at McDonald's now, like really, sweeping the floor and oh yeah, that's as intense as writing out essays, and that's just their logic, and it just makes no sense. I've learned that, you know, personally, I don't need to do that much study to improve. I got no benefit from studying 5 hours a day. Last few months, I've been studying for 30 minutes a day. On a typical day, I'd probably maybe make a 10-minute YouTube video and read for 20 minutes. So that's 30 minutes of work. And I've made massive intellectual progress in that amount of time. I worked at McDonald's. I worked at McDonald's. I used to find a very mentally head-wrecking job. My head would be wrecked after every shift. I'd be looking forward to my next day off to let my brain recover. But now I find it mentally, well, relatively easy, even though, well, I struggle on some stations like fries and stuff to keep up. But mentally it's not difficult. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's good. You can do a decent shift without headaches, without your brain hurting. Do you know what I mean? That's good. So obviously, I made progress from my plan. All right, and I'm only doing small amounts of work because I can only do small amounts of work without burning out. It's like if you're a distance runner, if you're a 30-minute 5K runner, as in not 13 as in 1-3, I mean 30 like 30. All right, you can't run 140 miles a week. It's stupid. So you start off small amount of miles and build up slowly as you get faster. That's how it works. Okay, and personally, I feel like I work at McDonald's, and I'm probably one of the stupider people there. You know what I mean? Which is fine. I have no problem with that because I am improving. As long as you're improving, as long as you're getting to where you want to be, that's the most important thing. But some of these other people at McDonald's, like they're smart. You know, one girl studies biomedical science at UCD. I'm like, you know, I don't think you're challenged by this job. I think you're kind of wasting your time here. Um, you know, this one girl must be a primary school teacher, so I think she's like, she says she goes to college from like 9 to 3, and then she works at McDonald's from 5 in the afternoon to 1 in the morning. Gee, like, really, it's just crazy. Okay. A school system also says, oh, everyone is smart, everyone's a genius, everybody is special, everybody should go to university. But that's not the case. That's not the case at all. Okay? I wasn't smart enough to go to university. I'm still not smart enough to go to university. Um, but yeah, you know, I was forced to go. My mother said if I don't go to university, she'd kick me out of the house. So I went just so I wouldn't get kicked out of the house. I am very resentful for that. Like if I was only just about smart enough to keep a job at McDonald's, you know, if my head is wrecked after every shift, you know, if I'm coming home with headaches and migraines from trying to keep up, then I think that means I'm not smart enough to go to university. But you know, the school system doesn't know that because they're idiots. Okay. Now I saw a YouTube video from the 1950s. This was an American school or a high school, as they call it over there. Um, but anyway, so this was 1959, I believe, and so what they did was they made all the students do an IQ test, and all the students who got 120 or higher were invited into a room and were told, right, you guys are smart, you should go to university. While everybody else was like, they told everybody else, nah, you know, you're not ready for university. You're not able for university. You're probably better off to get a job, okay, or an apprenticeship or something like that, you know. Um, so yeah, that's a smarter way of doing it. Because you know, you need to be smarter than the average person to go to university and do well at it. You can't just say everybody can go to university. Yeah, look, if you have a low IQ, you can, and you're 18 years old, you can go to university, but not anytime soon. That's my belief. So I'd say maybe just get yourself a job or find some source of income, you know, even if it's only like part time, because you can survive off a part time salary, despite popular belief. So yeah, you do that, and and then in your free time you do a bit of a bit of brain training work. That's what I'm doing now with my YouTube, my reading. I'm reading a book about Elon Musk at the moment. uh, so yeah, as you see, you know, those 30 minutes a day, even if you're working a full-time job, you can still carve out enough time to improve your brain. You don't need to spend 5, 6, 7 hours a day at it. Okay, that's just the school system brainwashing us. Okay. Yeah, think about it. Yeah, well, like when you're in school, you sit there for fucking hours, but how much work do you actually do? Like, not much. Not much. Well, I didn't anyway. You know. Maybe the school you went to was different. Um, yeah, and also I heard that most office workers, believe it or not, only do 3 hours of work a day. So most of them are there for 8 hours and they do 3 hours of work. Yet they're judged by how many hours they put in into the office. I read somewhere the reason they do this is because they want to keep the system going, where you know people work spend. You spend too much time at your job, most of your day at your job, so that when you've a relatively small amount of free time, so that you'll want to make the absolute most of that free time. You will spend money. You'll go to concerts, football matches. You'll spend. So you become like a work slave. You're just like work, spend. But you know, you don't spend any time developing yourself. Like with me, my YouTube, you know, I don't have to pay to make YouTube videos. Or I had to buy this phone, which cost, I think, was it 40, 50 euro? I can't remember now. Yeah, I have to recharge it every now and then. That's electricity, it costs a bit of money, not much. Wi-Fi. We pay for Wi-Fi, which costs a little bit of money, not much. So as you can see, it's a very cheap hobby, okay? And that's the thing. We need to go back to that more old school way of doing things. Cheap hobbies, you know, like kids back in the day would buy a ball and they'd be playing with it for hours. You know, nowadays kids are like, I want to do this, I want to do that. Oh, well, you know, spend 300 euros a day on me. You know, and that's just crazy. And we're approaching the 10-minute mark. And yeah, so is there anything else I can say about this? Yeah, okay, so here's I'm gonna end this video by offering an alternative. Okay, how much do you actually need? How much do you need to survive? Think about it that way. Think about it that way. You don't need much, do you? No. All right. I live in Dublin. Dublin is a very expensive city, capital of Ireland. If I moved to say a smaller town, like let's say Longford, okay, the rent's going to be a lot cheaper. So I could move into Longford, rent a room. The rent would probably be about half what it is here, or maybe even less. So you're saving a lot of money on rent. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you just find ways to save money on rent that way. And yeah, minimize costs. And oh, I have to sneeze now. So you can minimize your everyday expenses. Like think about it. Think of all the times you go away on holiday, the amount of money you spent. All right. Think if you didn't go away on holiday, if you didn't buy a car, if you didn't buy all these things you don't need, you'd save a lot of money, which means you don't have to work as many hours. You spend less. The less you spend, the less you have to work. Think of it that way. Think of it that way. And you have more time to do other things. So instead of maybe working 40 hours a week, you could maybe work 20 hours a week, or maybe even 15 hours a week if you're really frugal. Do you know what I mean? You gotta think. I think they're increasing wages worldwide because of this whole new order thing. So yeah, take advantage of that. You know, try to make a YouTube channel. It doesn't matter if you're really bad at something. You can get good at it. It's just going to take time. All right. Too many people have a fixed mentality, and that's the thing the school system does to us. You know, like I read somewhere that whatever IQ you have at 18, you can't really improve it much after that. You can only maybe improve it like slightly. But no, that's bullshit. I've improved my IQ massively in the last few months. I'm 24 years of age. So, it just goes to show the school system is stupid. Um, you know, and what else? Yeah, I remember, um, like I remember in school, if you go down to ordinary level for a certain subject, you're never allowed to go back to higher level. Like you could be really bad at a subject at 15, but then spend time in it, get really good at it. You could become like you could drop down from a 14. You could drop from higher level maths to ordinary level maths and be bad at maths at 14. But then you can start working on maths on the side and become really good at it. And then at 17, you're a mathematical genius because you've worked on it a lot those last 3 years. Oh, but you have to do ordinary level. You can't do higher level maths because you went down to ordinary level at 14, and which means you can't move back up, which means you're always destined to be bad at maths. Do you know what I mean? That's the problem. All right, you can be like I was stupid my whole life, and now I'm starting to get smart. Do you know what I mean? So you just gotta ignore the stupidity that the school system has to offer. Okay.